So my name is Timm Dobert. I'm German-born. I've been very fortunate to travel the world as part of my academic journey. I did my master's in New Zealand with research based in Thailand, and then I moved to Australia, did research in Borneo, lived a bit in India, and I've been living in Canada for the last 6 years. So I'm a conservation scientist by training, but I'm increasingly branching out to use my athletic passions to combine sports and nature for driving positive impact for the planet. Yeah, so Wings of Survival was started about 4 years by now, and it was triggered by looking at a flyway map. So flyways are the corridors that birds migrate, as a simplification, that birds migrate on their seasonal journeys across the continents. And looking at this map, something just clicked, and I felt this would be really neat to traverse these flyways along with the birds and really use their epic feats to tell this interesting story and get more people engaged in nature. And I'm very fortunate to have a wonderful expedition partner, Leanna Carrier. She was Canada's first female decathlete. So we're very much blending sports and nature. Yeah, so last year we cycled from Halifax to Vancouver. And for anyone who's not Canadian, that's about, well, we cycled 4,500 kilometers in total. So it's already quite an epic journey. So we considered this to be a very important milestone. So we worked with the University of Alberta with different scientists working in the field of nutrition and sports, so kinesiology, and trying to understand our human response to such a challenging feat. So we studied nutrition and physical, as well as psychological resilience. And this is slowly being analyzed, the data, and being published. So we're very excited to see some cool results. We're also plant-based athletes. So we did this entirely fueled on plant-based products, which was really nice. And especially seeing they were only really positive outcomes when we look at our physiology. So that was pretty neat. We did try to really use this as well to build partnerships. So we've been talking to different NGOs across Canada and globally, Birds Canada, for example, Wildlife Conservation Society. So this was an opportunity to strengthen those partnerships, to have increased collaborations in social media. So that was important. And then just for us to see the logistics. So we had a tremendously wonderful support person, Bill, who's running an initiative called Northern Latitude. So he's a storyteller, photographer, and he was really looking after us. So essentially we just had to cycle and focus on, how do we cope with the stress? So really good warm-up milestone event leading towards this big expedition from Alaska to Patagonia next year. We did see a lot of birds along the road, which had been hit by vehicles. Incredible diversity, including some endangered species. So we always stopped, took a photo, really looked closely at the bird, and then we send that bird immediately to our friend at Birds Canada to get the species ID. So that was interesting, something we didn't necessarily expect, to see such a diversity of birds. But then at the same time, as you, in a way, traverse this natural history transect from east to west, you just get different sounds, right? So the soundscape really changes, which is super fascinating. Just having this daily ongoing, bird song and how it changes over time and over distance. So that's fascinating. So we didn't get to stop places and observe too much. We did have our binoculars on board and did a little bit, looking for the more obvious we might spot while we're cycling, some beautiful sandhill cranes and lots of warblers. But it was really this, I feel the acoustic journey was very interesting. Yeah, sports for nature is really this idea of how do we use sports as being arguably the largest platform for outreach and engaging people. How do we use this platform in a more meaningful way to drive those nature goals? So that's sort of the fundamental idea. And then there's been a lot of a great evolution when it comes to trying to create more sustainable teams and clubs and organizations. But we are sort of coming from this angle of athletes. So athletes oftentimes having a big following. People like adventures, people like exploration, people like to be entertained, I suppose, in a lot of ways, and they enjoy very cool stories. So it's this opportunity to tell stories from a sports perspective, dipping into the natural world. So I think it's just one of those opportunities where we can reach people relatively fast and at a bigger scale. So that's where Sports for Nature is very powerful, because when we look at all these different crises we're facing, which are all interconnected, be it climate, be it pollution, be it biodiversity, and even social problems, it's oftentimes rooted in this disconnect when it comes to nature. So I think there's a great opportunity, but also responsibility for us as outdoor lovers, as athletes, people who create story, to tell this story with an environmental context. Yeah, we've been, literally preparing all our lives, I suppose, being athletes. And as I said, Leanna, she's been a very highly accomplished Canadian athlete, and I'm trying to keep up as much as I can. So it's the physical component, but that's something we've been doing anyhow. We're very conscious about nutrition, so we do work with nutrition scientists. Apart from this, it's really, we have a wonderful network of organizations who are supporting us in different capacities. So it's largely about pulling those pieces together into this very impactful, meaningful network of impact storytelling. And then I should mention, we have a production company based here in Edmonton, and Moving Artistry Productions. Justin's been following us for the last 3 years. We've already traveled to Alaska to talk to some scientists, to do some packraft training, because we'll have to do a little bit of packrafting on this journey, for example, to cross the Darien Gap. We went to Colombia, which is the most bird biodiverse country. So we again met some scientists, and we filmed a lot of birds and training at high altitude. And then we competed in an Ironman distance race in Patagonia. And that's where Justin came along, and he created a trailer and a mini doc. And we now have 2 producers from the UK on board who are very experienced in sort of films like Planet Earth, for example. So beautiful animal natural history documentaries. So the film is a really important vehicle for us as well to drive the message and impact.